little bit past 30 laps into this race here on the American Sim Network. I'm Matt Egan, joined by Jacob Young. It's the Children's Dream Racer Cup Series from Kansas Motor Speedway. And what a race it has been. Now, your current leader, Josh Thaxton, has been having a great night here. He's been looking to win in the chase here and really make a name for himself in these point standings. He's led 8 laps here tonight. Jacob, what have you seen here?
Yeah, it's been really good so far. I've seen, of course, a long green flag run. We saw an early caution, though, but really that hasn't stopped the racing from getting any dull, to be exact. We've seen a lot of tandems going on, as in, of course, some people working that high line and some people really working that low line. That low line seems to be doing pretty well, but of course, when that high line comes into play, it's going to be big, especially during the later stages into this race. We've seen, one thing real quick is, I believe that Glenn Murphy Jr. had to use his fast repair or something like that. He got into the wall a bit as he was just being pushed out of, I believe, just out of line for a second there, got a bit loose. So he's someone to watch coming from the back of the field for sure.
Yeah, Glenn Murphy Jr. currently down pit lane. Looks like he's still getting damage repair done on that number 48 Camaro ZL1. Now, an interesting thing to talk about, really an important thing to talk about with Glenn Murphy Jr. before he goes a lap down. Hopefully he doesn't go a lap down. Glenn Murphy Jr. is leading by only 8 points over Josh Thaxton, and that is a differential that Josh Thaxton very easily could close up tonight.
Yeah, he'd easily close that up as well. I mean, look at him in that top 10, in that top 5, and, well, get a win tonight. That's going to pretty much not seal it up, but he'll be leading into basically Texas, a very tough racetrack, a racetrack that's going to be a lot like this.
Yeah, if Glenn Murphy Jr. is running all the way back in the field here and running near 20th, and there's only 22 drivers on track, he's running near dead last on the lead lap. He's got a lot of damage on the nose of that Camaro. Looks like he got in the wall again at some point after he got his fast repair. This is not a good night for Glenn Murphy Jr. Kevin Trzynski, your current leader, but Josh Thaxton stands to walk out of here with the points lead. Glenn Murphy Jr., last year's champion. He does not want to lose the championship. He does not want to lose that points lead going into Texas. 3 races left till Homestead. He does not want to lose that. This is a big thing for Glenn Murphy Jr., and he really needs a standout night here. He needs to finish good. So that's really important, and we'll be right back in just one quick second. Double them up. We'll be going racing here. Sorry about the late start here, folks, and missing the first beginning half of the race. You can catch the beginning half on Twitch, and we'll find a way to splice it into this, but I had to do something for school and actually had to wind up driving someone home. So we're a little late getting going, but we're here on ASN getting ready for the really second few quarters of this race, the second 2 quarters, or 3 quarters. And it should be pretty exciting to watch here. Bubba May, your current race leader. I tell you what, we have not seen Bubba May leading a race in a little while. What do you think of that, Jacob?
Very exciting, especially that he's in the lead. The last time that we saw him in the lead was Pocono, I believe.
Yeah, pace car down. Bubba May looking to make some good stuff happen.
Come on.
And there it is. We're racing. Bubba's got the jump.
A great start by Bubba. I saw a bit of a push from the number 8 of Randy Arms, so that really helped him get off the line. Look at the 13 just going into the inside lane to try to follow that tandem. And look at, of course, Josh Thaxton moving back just a bit because he lost that draft.
Yeah, it's Tyler Pop in the 13 there in third now. Pop having a good run. the main driver that wants to be leading this race, the driver that needs it the most, it's Josh Thaxton. He needs those 8 points. If he can gain 8 points, he gains the points lead. And that would be huge for Thaxton.
Exactly, considering he's been hot all month, and that's always key. And he wants to ride that momentum, and look at him in third place. So right now, I believe he would have those 8 points locked up, considering the fact of where Glenn Murphy Jr. is, which is about 12th position.
Yeah, I believe he might, but the win would really help cement it. And yeah, Josh Thaxton in the last month or so has been absolutely dominant. You look all the way since Richmond, since really the start of the chase, he has not finished lower than 5th. He finished 5th at Richmond, 2nd at the Roval, 4th at Dover, and of course won last week at Talladega. And then he won at Iowa, 6th at Indy, 1st at Darlington, 5th at Bristol. His worst finish the worst finish he's had in recent memory, you have to go all the way back to August 12th, and that was at Michigan. That was 18th. His worst finish outside of the top 20, well, you have to go all the way back, and I mean all the way back, to March 4th. That was Las Vegas, where he finished 29th. Other than that, he hasn't finished outside the top 20 this season. And for the most part, hasn't finished outside the top 10. His only finish outside the top 10 this season came at Las Vegas, Richmond, the first Richmond race, Charlotte, New Hampshire, Michigan, and that was it. So for the most part, he's been a top 10 driver. He's not had many bad races to show for his season, which is absolutely what you want to have happen to win a championship. Glenn Murphy Jr. is good, don't get me wrong, but he's got to pick up a lot of ground if he wants to win this championship, because Josh Thaxton, I got to say, he's really giving him a run for his money, and I'm sure that's something Glenn probably wasn't expecting.
Yeah, the good news is for Glenn Murphy Jr., there is still plenty of time. It's a 125-lap race. We're already 47 laps into it. But considering, yes, he's not necessarily up front, that could also be kind of his game plan, because this isn't, of course, Talladega, but the way that they're racing so close together, and that draft, especially through the front stretch and even the back stretch, really will benefit you, especially if you are the person being pushed. So, yeah, he's still got plenty of time left, but of course the clock is ticking for him to get up to the top 10.
Yeah, Randy Arm's also looking for the race lead right now over Bubba May. Now, Bubba May, let's talk about this driver. This is probably the best race he's had in a while. He is in the chase. We can't forget about that. But he is 15th in the standings. He is the last chase driver, the last ranked chase driver. His best finish recently was at Indianapolis. That was a 5th place finish, by the way. He finished 23rd at Richmond, missed the last few weeks, but he finished 11th at Talladega. And now he leads, of course, here at the Kansas Motor Speedway. You think this might be a turning point for Bubba? Of course, he's mathematically out of the championship, but maybe at least some momentum going into 2020.
Yeah, for sure. Momentum going into 2020 is always key, and I think that is exactly what he's doing at Kansas. He knows that he doesn't necessarily need to finish well, but to know that, look, I'm learning this package, I'm learning this car, and now it seems like I'm going to be able to shine at the end of the season. That will be perfect for 2020 going into the duel and going into Daytona.
Yeah, because I'm going to double check this, of course, but I do believe this is Bubba May's 2nd season. And yes, it is. So Bubba May's rookie season was 2018. And so this is his 2nd season. Now let's compare stats for a second. In his rookie season, 5 top 5s, 8 top 10s. This season, 9 top 5s and 22 top 10s, 1 pole position. He's definitely improved. I'm wondering what we see out of year 3 for Bubba. Maybe a win or 2.
Exactly. Maybe a win or 2. Maybe a chance to, well, I mean, he's fighting with the big dogs right now, but
maybe a chance to fight at Homestead next season. You never know.
Exactly, yeah. Be with Randy Arms, be with Glenn Murphy Jr., Josh Saxon,
yeah,
and
I'm about
even
to say,
Susie.
you can't forget Josh Saxon. I mean, look at the point standings. You usually would expect to see Randy Arms up there, but Randy Arms fall into a 4th place, and he's not out of it yet, but he's close to mathematically eliminating himself. But Jonathan Schwartz, Thaxton, those are the well, Thaxton's really the new player in this part of the. I'd call it maybe the big 4 now. You know.
Yeah, and consider what happened last week too at Talladega, where, well, Randy Arms almost came out of there once again with a win. He was leading close to about the last lap, and well tried to block. And of course, you know, things never necessarily go well for the leader.
Yeah, Randy. Oh, Tyler Popp hard into the outside wall. I don't know if you saw that, but it looked like he got loose and just overcorrected hard into the wall there. Katie, what did you see?
I was actually going back to see. I heard Top kind of have some commotion, but I didn't get to see what happened yet.
Yeah, Tyler Popp had a big issue there.
Man, I just realized you guys were ready.
Topper Dugas also looked like he might have had an issue as well. Michael Tant, another Chase driver, runs 11th, having a good night. But yeah, Glenn Murphy Jr., this is the big revelation. I wasn't really expecting to see. I was not expecting to see Glenn Murphy Jr. have as bad of a night as he is. Now, Katie, you were here for the first 40 laps. What did you see out of it? She's got herself muted for a second. Jacob, what did you see out of the first 40 laps?
Well, yeah, it was a really nice run at the beginning, like I said before, but talking about Glenn Murphy Jr., exactly, really, he was in the mix, and what hurt him was he kind of got loose or got help from someone and just hit the wall and damaged his car. Exactly, that's not necessarily what you wanted to see from a leader like that, so that's really kind of what happened from him. That he just has damage now, and he's trying to fight to get back up in the positions. Now he is right behind Hank Allen, so he'll probably make up positions there.
Yeah, and it looks like Jonathan Schwartz now runs 6th. Look at Matt Hoyle on the bottom. He had his big win at Chicagoland, looking to get another here in Kansas. Looked to the inside, didn't quite make anything happen on Susie.
Yeah, no, not able to get anything on Susie just yet. Of course, all he needs to do is, well, get the 58 kind of to push him. Now he's on that outside trying to pass Bubba. Bubba has no help there, so it should be an easy pass on the outside. Now the outside normally for races, especially in the daytime, is the way to go. That is how much, well, momentum you'll have. At least it was really the momentum in the Xfinity Series race, but also in that Cup race. You really are able to take off on that high line. Oh no, he's got some contact from the 58.
Hoyle's
he's losing
going
it.
around. Can he save it? Yes, he
saved
can.
it. What a fantastic save. Oh no.
Might have spoke too soon.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
Oh no. Yeah, that's just the case of a driver having it saved and then, having it not saved in about 0.8 of a second. Because we'll watch that again, and he made contact there. Yep, Jonathan Schwartz just beat his bumper a little bit. Looks like bump drafting gone wrong. If anything, Hoyle had it saved for a second and then, well, immediately had it unsaved. And then someone just clipped his nose off, and I'm inclined to say that was the 68. Yes, it was, of Brandon Thornhill, the Ducati machine. Not a good night for Misfit Motorsports. Josh Thaxton, though, your race leader. Let's talk to Josh Thaxton. Josh Thaxton, have you got a copy on us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, going into pit lane now, man, just a few questions for you real quick. Obviously, leading tonight, you're having a standout night, and you're 8 points out of leading that championship. Do you think you got a shot at the championship?
I might have one. I just gotta try to get as many bonus points as I can and need Glenn to like get wrecked or him mess up or something.
Now,
Hopefully he has a bad internet connection.
now, you've really had a great season. You've had only a handful of finishes outside the top 20 and even less outside the top 10. What's your strategy?
Just try to get as many points as I can. That's about all I can do.
All right, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck on the rest of the race.
Thanks, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Josh Thaxton, driver of the number 18 machine. 61 out of 125 laps complete. Hank Allen looks like he'll get out in a way. Be your race leader on the American Sim Network. And we'll be right back in just a second. But yeah, Hank Allen, your current leader. Back live here on the American Sim Network. 63 out of 125 laps complete, and it is all Josh Thaxton. It really has been these last few green flag laps. Jacob Young will get you with the green.
All right, sounds good. I want to be very exciting pace car moments away from really going down pit lane. There it goes, down pit lane. And we are back underway here at Kansas Motor Speedway. Green flag back out in the air.
Great start there by Josh Susie. He might actually get the lead going into one.
He has got the outside lane. That's the most preferred lane at the moment there, even though he's kind of staying in that middle line, but really having the help, and that's always key, having that help. But look at Randy Arms pushing Josh Thaxton.
Yeah, it's been a pretty exciting battle here. It's two-car tandem. A little bit of a throwback to Talladega, or to 2011, I should say. But look at the 24, Clay Dildon coming to spoil the party.
How about
He's
that
there
car?
saying he wants a piece of the action.
Exactly, and he can benefit Well, the leaders for sure, and he just decides to go up onto that high line, just like I said. That high line really working wonders for a couple of these drivers.
Yeah, the high line looking pretty fast. Clay's up there with Michael Tan on the bottom. Abney behind Clay in that 14 machine. These Chase drivers having a good night. Glenn Murphy Jr. looks like he's starting to bounce back.
Exactly. Glenn Murphy Jr. in 7th place right now. And, of course, he started first place on pole. But, like you said, bouncing back. And all he's got to do is, well, just keep fighting. Now he's got to fight Josh Abney for now.
Yeah, and right now Glenn Murphy Jr. would have 2,220 points. Josh Thaxton would have a total of, I'll tell you in a second, actually. Josh Thaxton would actually have a total of, well, they'd actually it would be, sorry, I'm blanking out for a second, but it would actually be Glenn Murphy Jr. leading by a grand total of 1 point right now, if the race were to end at this very moment.
1 point as, of course, the 18 of Josh Thaxton steals that lead on that high line with the tandem. But look at how fast Randy Arms was for a second there without any help from anyone. He was just about taking the lead there for a second, but stays in third, trying to pass for second place.
And basically what I'm saying here too, if you don't forget, Glenn Murphy Jr., if he finishes 8th or worse, it is Josh Thaxton that'll be your points leader. So that'll be a thing. If Josh Thaxton wins this race and Glenn Murphy Jr. finishes worse than 8th, he'll have to finish 9th or lower. Josh Thaxton walks out of here your points leader. So that's something to consider. That's something really big to consider, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's something huge and monumental to consider, considering, well, once again, you're going to a track that's almost exactly like this. Yes, it's more along the lines of Atlanta with a smaller backstretch, but you're still going to have those two car tandems working together. And, well, if Glenn Murphy Jr. kind of struggles at the start and we have a long green flag run kind of like this, well, then it's going to create some problems for Glenn Murphy Jr. He will lose that championship lead indefinitely coming into the final 2 races. Of course, we're talking about Kansas at the moment, but
yeah,
never know with things
after this week.
Yeah, exactly, with things changing.
So that's the big thing. Glenn Murphy Jr. has to finish, well, really has to finish 8th or better to stay in the points lead heading in to Texas. And if he finishes right where he's at, it'll be, if my math is correct, of course, it'll be a 1 point lead. And that's not much. That is, I would not be comfortable with that at all, you know?
Exactly. That's having basically 4 quarters with you. So think about playing an arcade game. Get 1 point. That's not a lot.
Well, that's not to say once we get past Texas, he won't extend that lead. But this really shows what one bad race or even one, mediocre race can do to you. Because this, a 7th place finish is not bad. But if he finishes there, if he finishes lower than 8th, he does not lead the points anymore.
And that's a crazy thing for us to be talking about. This is just a mediocre race for this man. Because like you said, yes, 7th place is not bad by any means. But of course, you're fighting someone for this championship, and that someone, named Josh Thaxton, is in that race lead, getting the full points, basically the full 43 or whatever points.
44 because he's led laps.
Exactly, 44 points right there. So, and it doesn't look like he's going to be given up at any time. Now, of course, we haven't necessarily seen these tires go off at any means, because after about, 30 laps, we'll really start to see the tire wear fall into play. Even close to 20 laps, we'll see that start to happen if they go that long. So I think if Josh Thaxton kind of just gets away almost a car length in the corners, then it's going to be really tough because these cars can spread out at this track.
And we saw Murphy. Now, Glenn has led a lap tonight, correct?
Yes, he has led a lap.
I'm about to say, because if he hasn't, they were originally tied for points when he was running 7th. With the lap led, he got the bonus point. But now he's gained 2 positions, so he's gone up to about a 2-point lead, give or take. So 2-point lead for Glenn Murphy Jr. That's still not much. That's not what I would call comfortable.
Not comfortable in any means. That is just, well, yeah, not what he wants at all. He came in here leading by 8 points, and that was already
not
pretty
a big lead either.
Exactly, a pretty big problem for him. You
Put
want
it this
more
way too. Or sorry, go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, you want more insurance, then you have to be basically just winning a race. You have to be finishing in second place almost every single race, no matter what. And so, well, he's back up there, but not close enough in a sense. He is right behind Randy Arms, is what it's saying on the score chart on the leaderboard here. So he has at least pulled it to 6th or 5th place, excuse me.
Now, the one big problem for Glenn Murphy Jr., if he gets in any kind of crash, now he'll go up to 4th, but if he gets into any kind of crash and wrecks out here tonight, he loses that points lead. It's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
And with 3 races left, it'll be a tough question to answer. Will he be able to get it back?
Yeah, so he has to be thinking, stay out of trouble, just race with your teammate or best friend or something like that, which would be Randy Arms, and make sure that he can kind of help you out and things. Because, well, yeah, you need every point that you can get, just like we're saying. It's so important, and we talked about it throughout the whole season. Who really knew how important points would be until really this stage?
Yeah, that's for sure. And with this new aero package, it's much harder for a single driver to just run away with things, which is why the points gap is such a close thing as we come into these final few races. But that's the big thing right now. Glenn Murphy here tonight, I'd really say this, and I'm not trying to be dramatic by saying it, but I'd say this race is either going to make or break his championship.
By far. It's so cliche to say, but it's so true. That couldn't be any truer to really say, just due to the fact, well, it's going to make or break you. You have a couple of races left, but the racetracks really don't get any bigger than this.
Yeah.
Yes, you have Homestead, which is a 2-miler, but
no,
Phoenix
Homestead's
is only about a mile.
Homestead's a mile and a half. And it'll probably race. I mean, I haven't seen these cars at Homestead, but I would imagine it would race very much like this. Homestead's very similarly banked.
Yeah, exactly. I really thought it was a 2-mile track.
Not similar layout, of course. The layout's a lot different, but the banking's pretty similar to Kansas. So I'd imagine Homestead's going to race a little bit like this.
Yeah, of course. Hopefully, of course, they have the day to night transition in. And what I mean by that is just, of course, well, Anarchy Motorsports Series decides to put the evening time in this race, in the Homestead race.
It would be cool to see them race into the night at Homestead.
Exactly, because that will be a different game changer, especially from, well, the late afternoon stage to the night stage, because you will get maybe a bit looser, or maybe you'll get more grip, and so, of course, the track will cool down and other things like that, and so we'll really start to figure out who's ready for that and who's not.
And right now, 42 laps to go. Not a lot of racing left.
Not a lot of racing left indeed, and Glenn Murphy Jr. still has to try to pass, well, Clay Dildine, and if he wants even a shot at third place, well, he's going to have to push a bit more. Just like I said, this is around the time that drivers will start to feel kind of their tires start to go off. And what I mean by that is they'll be lifting a bit more into the corners instead of not really lifting out all into the corners. They might just let off the gas a bit and then get back onto it. But of course now you'll probably start to see a lot more lifting off in slower times. And so that'll really start to play a factor in who's really going to be able to save enough of their stuff to really make kind of a late race charge and to make the correct strategy call, because we'll probably see these drivers, if it stays green like this, going to pit lane maybe one more time. Maybe there's still 2 more pit stops, but I'm thinking 1.
Yeah, and one thing to consider, there's hardly anyone left in the race. There's only 17 drivers left on track. So not a lot of drivers left, you know?
Yeah, exactly. 17 drivers. That's, well, nothing. Considering they only started off with about 22 drivers in general. Why I say it's like nothing, well, it's because these drivers, I mean, you see how spread out it is already. So we're probably not going to see another caution, and that just helps everyone to really just drag out like an accordion and not necessarily have any chance to really wreck.
And right now, you can see 38 laps to go. We're just 38 laps to go. It is all Josh Thaxton, Randy Arms, Susie, Dildine, Murphy, Tant, Hoyle, and Pop rounds out your top 8. Schwartz and Ostrander make out the top 10. Jonathan Schwartz has not had a great night right now. Jacob, what's happened to him?
Well, Jonathan Schwartz, really, he was up front a bit for a while, but just, well, I guess didn't have necessarily the pace that he thought he was going to have, and the strategy call might not have been best for him. He just, well, really has been running this race by himself. He's kind of in the middle of both packs, as in one pack is behind him, tandem up, and another pack is just a bit too far from him at the moment. Like I said, he kind of just got singled out there from that strategy. I think I just saw a couple of cars go down pit lane.
I almost said pace car. That's Randy Arms, Michael Tant, and Glenn Murphy down pit lane.
The leaders going down pit lane. That's very interesting. Of course, Josh Thaxton staying out, though.
Well, likely be the last pit stop. I guess they wanted to get in early, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Try to undercut is a perfect way to really work at this racetrack. I saw it happen to myself when I did the NIS race. I was one of the last groups to go down pit lane, and it did not pay off well. Luckily, I got a caution to get my lap back or things like that. So really that's kind of the perfect time for them to do it. It's in the perfect window. You have enough to make it to the end. Yes, your tires will be just a bit older, so you'll have to save just in that way, but other than that, you can push as much as you want.
And right now, 34 laps to go. Thaxton still leads, hasn't pitted yet. When do you think we'll see our main leaders pit? I see Hoyle, Pop, Clinton, Collins, Meeks. A lot of these guys heading down pit lane now.
Probably in a couple of laps for sure, I think. If Josh Thaxton doesn't pit in, well, just, he doesn't want to pit too soon for sure. He doesn't just want to copy Glenn Murphy Jr., but if he doesn't pit maybe in the next 3 to 5 laps, then it might end up being a problem for him and he might lose the lead.
And right now, 32 to go at the stripe. Next time by. And the $1 million question going to be, who's your pick to win?
Pick to win, I think, is going to be, well, in that group that pitted not too long ago. I think Randy Arms will come out of the blue and win this one. Pretty interesting pick, but he's been up there and been in second place almost all day long.
Yeah, without a doubt. My pick, though, I'm sticking with Josh Thaxton. I got a feeling he's really going to turn his championship around tonight. I got a feeling he might actually start winning his championship, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You win one of these races, it gives you, well, it gives you confidence. And especially given the fact that 3 out of the last 4 races, well, including this one, I guess, so really just 2 out of the last 3 races will be mile and a halfers. So you feel like you do well at Kansas, well, it's going to be Texas and Homestead. So they're very similar indeed. Just like you said, Homestead is very similar to Kansas. So, well, he'll be enjoying this one, and he'll feel confident for those last, well, 2 out of the last 3 races. As there he goes down pit lane.
Thaxton down pit lane. It's got to be a good stop, though. He got in pretty well, though. Susie elects to stay out for another lap, though.
Exactly. One of the tougher pit entrants for sure to get down, but he was able to do it perfectly.
And right now you can see here with just 30 to go, the strategy flipped on its head. Do you think we see another caution? Or as I flipped on its head, the strategy game I really meant to say, really just playing out differently for a lot of these drivers. Thaxton waiting till near the end to pit. Murphy was one of the first down. That might actually help Glenn Murphy Jr. Now here's my question for you, of course. Do you think we see another caution here?
I really don't think so, just due to the fact of how spread out this field is, especially with this green flag pit stop. I think even before this green flag pit stop, we really started to see the field spread out a lot more. And so since it's like that, there's not a lot of chances for cars to really get tangled up or to try to bump draft and maybe a bump draft gone wrong. So I really think that there won't be another caution.
28 to go right here. Chris Ostrander down along with Susie. That'll leave Abney to come down. And it'll actually put Glenn Murphy Jr. with Randy Arms in the race lead. How about that?
How about that indeed? I mean, just a perfectly timed pit stop for them. Now, of course, their tires will be older, closer to the end of this race. But I'm thinking more and more that, well, I think that will just be too late for them, as in they'll just not have enough time to really get back and try and use up all their stuff, just like Glenn Murphy Jr. and crew will.
And right now, 27 laps to go with Glenn Murphy, now your leader. Do you think we see Glenn Murphy Jr. go to victory lane now?
I really do think that we'll see Glenn Murphy Jr. go to victory lane. I think with the help of Randy Arms, they're best pals and teammates basically. They'll be able to just help each other out for sure. I think not necessarily team orders will come in, but I know that Randy Arms will know that Glenn Murphy Jr. has a chance to lock up another title championship, and this will just help benefit him from doing it. So I don't think that Randy Arms will really try and do anything dumb. Maybe a last lap gas, but for sure nothing that will jeopardize them finishing even in the top 3.
And right now, 25 laps to go. Randy Arms all over the back bumper of Glenn Murphy Jr. Maybe Randy going to try and take the win for himself.
Like I said, I wouldn't be shocked about that. It's just, of course, both drivers need to know what they're fighting for and who's fighting for what position. Of course, yes, both of them are fighting for the championship, but Glenn Murphy Jr. has a more likely chance of winning it all. And so, of course, they'll need to think about they cannot really let their, not necessarily rivalry, but just let their antics on the last lap thing cost them a victory and maybe a chance at a title.
And right now, 23 laps to go. Glenn Murphy Jr. just looking to win this race. If Glenn Murphy Jr. wins this race, everything, of course, that we talked about with Josh Thaxton in the points, that all goes, straight out the window. So Glenn Murphy Jr. has the potential to really save his season, as it were.
I mean, Josh Thaxton's only about in fourth position, so yes, he's not definitely out of it for the race win, but of course the difference, the gap is just really big. And look at who has also joined the party a bit. Matthew Hoyle. Matt Hoyle in third position after, of course, we did see him kind of spin out, but luckily he was able to get his fast repair done, and well, now he's also got a chance of winning this race and kind of spoiling the party and kind of helping Josh Thaxton out too.
Yeah, and the great thing here with Matt Hoyle is that he last won, of course, Chicagoland, so he's looking to win. And the reason that's great is that I feel like he'll be a little bit extra aggressive if he gets in that position, and he'll make things exciting. He'll make things really, really fun to watch, Yeah,
exactly. And so I'm watching the 48 and 8 car right now, and what Randy Arms has been doing down that back stretch and even the front stretches, he's gotten to Glenn Murphy Jr.'s bumper so much that, well, he's given him big pushes, and that's really helped Glenn Murphy Jr. out so far. As then once he gives him that push, Glenn Murphy Jr. A, of course, speeds up, and B, has more of a distance from Randy Arms and the field.
Yeah, right now 19 to go at the stripe. And Matt Hoyle getting within striking distance of our leaders. Do you think Matt Hoyle has a chance to win this race, Jacob?
Got a chance for sure. We're talking about him only being 4/10 out of the race lead from Glenn Murphy Jr. to be exact. So, well, that's extremely close. If he can close the gap just a bit more, well, then that'll be even more exciting there.
Yeah, that's for sure. And look at that. He's only about a car length away from Randy Arms. He's definitely getting the draft off Randy. And definitely, again, will be within that strike zone in just a few moments.
0.3 tenths now. And we're talking Randy Arms only 1/10 away from the lead as well. So he's trying to help his teammate out. But before then, he was even closer when they crossed that start-finish line. So, yeah, that striking distance is really, I would say that striking distance for Matt Hoyle would be about, well, yeah, 1/10 where Randy Arms would be.
Yeah, and that DuPont Chevrolet, he's going to be a factor in this battle for the win, whether Glenn Murphy Jr. wants him to be or not,
Exactly. He's got as much of a right as winning this race as the 48 and 8 do. So, yeah, of course, Matt Hoyle is going to try his hardest to win this race. Now, of course, he doesn't want to get on Glenn Murphy Jr.'s bad side and also Randy Arms' bad side. But, of course, well, hey, it's a win is a win, no matter how it comes or where or when it comes.
And right now, 15 laps to go at the stripe. We're on board with Matt Hoyle. Watching this all play out, what do you think Hoyle's going to do here?
Well, I think Matt Hoyle is going to wait for his opportunity because, remember, Randy Arms is also right there, and who knows, Randy Arms could also try and win this race as well. So if Randy Arms were to go off that draft for Glenn Murphy Jr., Matt Hoyle could probably also pick up that draft and kind of slipstream, and we'd be talking about, well, almost a 3-wide finish or something like that.
Right now, 14 to go at the stripe. Still on car with Matt Hoyle. Now Matt Hoyle looks like he might get passed by Josh Thaxton. Josh Thaxton, Well, he may not walk out of here with the points lead tonight, but you know what? He may walk out of here at the win still. He's up to third. This might be pretty exciting to see.
Talk about a difference now. He's right on Randy Arm's bumper. He's looking to the inside, going side by side now. I don't think he's going to have enough because that high line's just been that electric, but I almost took that back for a second there, but yeah, just like I said, not able to really do anything about it just due to the fact he doesn't necessarily have that draft. Now, Glenn Murphy Jr. goes to that bottom line, and so gives him a bit of a draft, and that's going to help Josh Thaxton basically clear Randy Arms, and I don't think that's a necessary thing of what, well, let me rephrase that. I don't think that's what Glenn Murphy Jr. really wanted there.
Yeah, no, Glenn Murphy definitely does not want this situation occurring. Does not want Thaxton to be a part of this battle because this could change a lot for Glenn Murphy Jr. Murphy getting the lead laps, but it looks like Thaxton might take the lead. Who's going to lead at the line? Thaxton led.
The only question is, will he be able to clear him?
I think he will. He's got him by half a car.
Glenn Murphy Jr. trying to side draft him, and it almost worked for a second there.
I mean, he's got about half a car right now.
I think Glenn Murphy Jr. had to lift off there for a second, but now Murphy has the draft, and well, now Josh Thaxton really becomes that sitting duck.
And 9 laps to go with Josh Thaxton currently leading this race. And you can see it's just some great racing. Looks like Glenn Murphy Jr. having an issue. He fell way back. Did you see that there, Jacob?
Yeah, I did. I really think that he had to kind of use up his stuff in the past few laps, and that really hurt him. And why I'm saying that is because you go on that inside. Sometimes, of course, maybe he went inside just a bit too much and will hit that white line, because that white line makes you kind of, well, your car uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's for sure. 8 laps to go now at the stripe. Matt Hoyle trying for second. Can he get it? Yes, he can. I don't know what's up with Glenn, but it looks like he's falling back.
Glenn Murphy Jr. is falling back. He is fading and fading fast nonetheless.
I'm wondering if he's trying to regroup with his teammate here, or if I'm wondering if he's actually got a problem with that car.
I think he's got to regroup. Either A, he's trying to regroup with his teammate, just like you said, and I think that's kind of the case, but at the same time, well, his tires are older than Josh Thaxton's, and I believe the 29 car's tires as well, as he's being passed by the 81 of, wow, Susie.
Yeah, Susie. Glenn Murphy Jr. was in a spot where he was walking out of here with the points lead. If he loses more positions, he might be back in that spot to lose the points lead. Remember, Thaxton wins the race, and Glenn Murphy finishes worse than 8th. So if he finishes 9th or worse, he loses the points lead.
Josh Thaxton, it looks like, without a caution, or a problem, he's going to win this race, because he has jumped out to now officially a 1.3 second lead. So that's a very impressive lead for sure, and no one's really been able to catch him when he gets up to a lead like this.
And right now, 4 laps to go at the stripe. Glenn Murphy Jr. losing ground to his teammate. Again, he is very much within risk of losing that points lead entirely. Right now, he's got it by about 1 or 2 points. In theory, he has it by 2. 3 laps to go here. Josh Thaxton, smooth sailing to the win as long as Matt Hoyle doesn't gain in on him. Glenn Murphy Jr. is in definite trouble. I don't know what happened to this 48 car, but I don't think he can hang when the tires fall out. I think that's his problem. He's just not good on the worn-out tires.
Exactly. That's, of course, a huge problem, especially when it comes to these tracks. Once again, we talked about it. We're going to Texas next. It's the same deal at Texas. And Homestead.
And Homestead. Don't forget Homestead.
Yeah, and Homestead. Yeah. Now, of course, Kansas and, in my opinion, Texas will be really bad on tires just due to the fact, well, we're seeing it at Kansas right now. It's part of the South, and I think the South with the heat is more grueling than, of course, a Florida heat. Then again, it is Florida. But either way, it's just, these are kind of the same ideas of what we're going to have at both those tracks.
Yeah, that's for sure. And really the only outlier there is Phoenix, and Glenn Murphy doesn't want to have to rely on Phoenix to win this championship. If he falls back only 2 more spots, it could spell disaster for his title hopes.
And Glenn Murphy Jr. had to lose a spot to Randy Arms, and of course Randy Arms just felt like he was a bit faster, and so overtook him there, and that's not going to help Glenn Murphy Jr.'s cause. As look at who's coming across the line
in the air. It is Josh